Today on Make It Happen, we will be making a Spartan Spear. I started by sandwiching two pieces of EVA foam with contact cement, which was applied in accordance to its instructions. This stuff takes 24 hours to dry, so just do something useful in the meantime. The next day, I began by drawing up a basic leaf spearhead onto a piece of folded paper, which allowed me to make a symmetric trace onto the EVA foam, and then I took some Stanley knives to cut it out. Because it's nearly impossible to cut along a curved line perfectly, I had to go back in with a sanding drum on a rotary tool to define the shape. I then went back with Stanley knives to begin cutting away the edges to give it a bevel, and then cleaned those up with the rotary tool. Next stage is to fit a PVC coupling, which was marked onto the surface and carefully carved out to allow a perfect fit. At this stage, I realized the spearhead was a bit too wide, so I just reduced its size and sanded away the remaining uneven surfaces. Then hot glued that PVC coupling in place with two pop sticks on each side as reinforcements. These were then covered up with craft foam. Next stage is to start applying gap filler. As you can see here, I used a lot, which was then sanded down smooth with 120 grit. At this point, the spearhead will need to be coated with 4 layers of PVA wood glue and then sprayed with grey primer. While that was drying, I cut down a piece of 25mm dowel to about 1.9 meters, which needed a spacer to create a tight fit for the spearhead. I also hot glued on some string in this pattern around the middle of the handle. Back to painting, I first applied a base coat of aluminium and clear. I then masked off the edges to expose the beveled ridges to apply hairspray before covering it with charcoal. Now the hairspray was supposed to allow me to scratch away some of the charcoal to give it a rough oxidized look, but this didn't work. So I had to resand, reprime, and respray with aluminium. To get that oxidized look, I had to apply a heavy coat of black with an airbrush, let that dry for a few seconds, and wipe it away to give it a scuffed up edge. I then painted the base pieces with a dull gold mixture, then coated the entire spear with an acrylic wash of black paint and sealed it with clear spray. Take a break from the bell to feed a bird just like Friggin Boom toys. Oh, he missed. Yeah. Now this part is optional, but I wanted an Order Empire banner to hang off the base of the spearhead. So I took a cutout from an old white shirt, soaked it in a watered down maroon mixture, and hung it to dry. As you can see in spots like here and down here and along here, you see like the green, the mixture of paint I was doing didn't quite mix properly, but however that's pretty good because that kind of gives it like a dirty moss kind of look to this fabric, as if it's been on tour for a couple of months. Yeah, so right now I'm just got this little crown logo for the Order Empire logo and stuff, and I'm just going to paint it. Yep. As you can see, I started by roughly filling in the crown with gold and then painting black along the outline. The fabric was then cut to the proper rectangle and the edges were covered in glue to prevent fraying. At this point, I didn't like the way it was going to sit on the spear, so I just hot glued on some Velcro strips to allow it to be removable, and the spear was done. If you have enjoyed this tutorial and would like to see more, please subscribe to make it happen. Good one.